In my previous video, I demonstrated how to make a slip knot and how to get that on the hook so that you're ready to begin with the next step. The next step is going to be making a foundation chain. Now, in order to do this, you're going to need to be able to find a way to tension the working yarn in your opposite hand so that you can consistently feed out the yarn as you're working, as you progress forward. Now, the way I do this is I lay the yarn between my pinky finger and my ring finger and of my left hand. I turn my palm downwards and I use my index finger to come up underneath the working yarn like so. I find that this works well for me to wrap it around the pinky and then bring it across my index finger. However, if you find another method that works well for you, certainly by all means, that is totally fine. My next step is that I will pinch the slip knot that I've made with my thumb and my middle finger here in order to secure this slip knot right here so that it won't move around the hook, making it more difficult to chain. Once I've immobilized this slip knot, now I'm ready to start chaining. The first thing I'll do now is I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to move it underneath the working yarn. I have the yarn laying across the hook, slanting to the right side like so. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the hook towards the slip knot so that I'm catching this working yarn and I'm putting in the throat area right here. As I do this, I'm twisting the hook downward, and now I will draw this new yarn over that's laying across the throat through the loop that is on the hook. And now I have what I can count as my first chain. And this is the process to continue making a chain. I will hold this new loop here on the hook with my index finger. I'm going to move my hook underneath the working yarn, again, away from me. And now I'll draw the hook through the loop that's on the hook. And I'm going to draw it. And as I get close to that loop that's on the hook, I'm going to turn the throat of the crochet hook down and bring it through. And now I've made another chain. I have 2 chains. I'll do it. I continue working in this fashion. I'm going to anchor the loop that's on the hook, move the hook underneath the working yarn, and again, I'm going to draw the hook through the loop on the hook, and at the same time, I'm going to twist the hook so the throat part is facing downwards and draw it through. And now I've got 1, 2, 3 chains. Again, what I'm doing is I'm anchoring this loop that's on the hook, and I'm moving the hook underneath the working yarn, and I'm pinching the most recent chain that I made, and I'm drawing the yarn over through the loop that is on the hook while twisting the throat downwards. Again, this is chain number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to draw out a little more of the working yarn here from the cake. Realign the working yarn within my hands. And now I'm going to be pinching the most recent chain that I made. It's important to make sure that this loop that is on the hook is not too tight so that you're able to draw the hook through it easily. I'm moving the hook underneath the working yarn. I'm grabbing it as I pull the hook through the loop that's on the hook. I'm also drawing up slightly with this hook in this direction. I'm moving it away from this tension that I've established right here to open up the hook. And if you see, I can adjust the size of the loop on the hook by moving my index finger this direction and moving the hook up. And that's how it's going to become easier in order to work the hook through the loop that's on the hook. And this is the fashion in which you continue until you've reached the desired number of chains. In this case, it's best to just practice this until you feel you are more comfortable holding the yarn, until you feel like you're getting chains that are more or less the same size. Again, moving the hook underneath the working yarn, pulling this through the loop that's already on the hook, but turning the hook down, face downwards. And then feeding out more yarn, readjusting the yarn, working it with my left hand. I'll pinch the top of the chain here. One thing to keep in mind, that if you do not twist the hook and you try to draw it through the loop that is on the hook in this fashion, you will find that you will have difficulty getting this hook to move through the loop that is on the hook. You must turn your hook downwards. Turn your hook downwards, but also being mindful that the yarn needs to stay in this throat area so that it can be brought through. And this is how I will continue. Again, I'm going to feed out some more yarn, readjust this within my hand. So what I can do now is I can carefully hold this in my hand and count how many chains I have. Each little V or teardrop shape is going to be counted as a chain. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to continue until I have 21. All right, so now I'm counting the chains that I have. If I give them just a little tug, it will help even these up. I'll set this down on the table to make it a little easier to count. I like to count by twos. You have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And I'll start again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Just for good measure, I'll make sure to count the chains again. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21.